don't think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding.
That's where that book, Live with the Seal, kind of originated. Jesse Itzler saw me at this race.
He was racing too, right?
Yeah, but he did it as a team.
Right, you did it alone.
I did it alone.
We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. The only work that really matters is the work that no one sees. It shows you who you really are rather than who you say you are.
How people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone. And you're all by yourself. I had tons of sticky notes all over my mirror. It wasn't like be better than John or be as fast as whoever. Okay, David, yesterday you did this. Today, our next goal for the week is this. So I had a year goal, weekly goals, daily goals, hourly goals, and the big goal was I lied a lot growing up.
There's this line that I heard David Goggins say on Rogan, and I can't remember who he was saying it to or what he said in response to, but he just said, "I'm David Goggins." And I remember him saying it, and I thought to myself, like, you want to be able to say that in the mirror to yourself and not laugh at yourself.
I spent so much time, people always like, why do you run so much? You try to get in shape. No, the things I do in life, most of life, you're alone. You may have a whole support crew around you, but up here, you're alone.
And the only way that I can do that is know that when no one's watching, I work harder than when they're watching.
And it's this wistfulness for the past. And dude, I get it. Like, if you feel lost and alone and like nobody understands you and like you've been forgotten and things shouldn't be this way, guess what? They've always been this way.
I wanted to be accepted. One goal was, let's go one day without lying. Let's go one day. And then when I would lie to somebody, I would say, hey man, I had to go back now and apologize. Say, hey man, I lied to you. You know how hard it is to go back to somebody and say, I lied to you?
And thinking about it like that has given me this persistent and ever-present scorecard or third party that's like, no one's watching, which means now you have to work because otherwise you're full of And so it's this continuous reinforcing cycle of the me and other me holding the whip behind me to see how much I can take.
And right now, the bar has never been set lower. If you have the opportunity to sit down and listen to me and Alex waffle on for 3.5 hours, you have the capacity, the conscientiousness, the wherewithal to be able to go out tomorrow and take one thing that you've hit from today.
Opposite of inspiration, they're like a vacuum.
100%.
It's sucking it out of you.
Why are you doing that today, man?
Yeah.
Why are you getting up again so early? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? The people you hang around with will suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta be alone, man. Get your in.
And then there's also
Bottom line is, no one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself, you got to push yourself, you're not going to make your dreams come true. You're just not.
I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. So whenever times get bad for people, all this, who's gonna carry the boats and what? That's real. I hate that people know me for that guy, because that guy is not every day. Like when they see me, they want that energy. That's not me every day. I can extract it immediately when I need to, because when you train alone, and I lived alone for so many years in this misery, and you're able to get out of it by yourself, I can take myself to such a level of real passion and purpose. And like, the feeling I get is something I can't even explain by myself. I don't need anyone. That's why people come to me to motivate them.
But with each lash of the whip that I take, learning that I can take it and continue to trudge on. And so as long as you keep going, you bear witness to yourself of what you are capable of. And I find that incredibly satisfying in the trenches of misery when you have to go through it.
It means that you're not full of shit.
I'm still here.
It means that you're not full of
Most of the stuff I do, I'm training for those moments. Those moments when I was at mile 70 and I had 30 more miles to go and I cracked up my back and blood down my leg. I had 30 miles to go. There's only so much someone cheering can do for you.
Right.
When you start to dive back in the cellar of your mind and you're pulling out all these tactics, all these mental tactics to get through this 30 miles when you're in the worst shape of your life and no one's coming to save you, and you get through that.
I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life. I would just say that to the extent that you want to improve your quality of life, the easiest and best way to do that is to observe your own mind and your own thoughts and be a little, not necessarily critical, but be observant of yourself more objectively.
That's what I'm about. I'm about mind, body, fitness. A lot of folks talk so much about, hey, I'm gonna change your life. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable, and I mean to the T, for what you're saying? I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth.
Sam Ovens used to make content on the internet. Now he's very much an operator rather than a front-facing, which is funny to think about Sam the creator as opposed to Sam the operator. And I asked why he'd stopped making content. And he said, because I felt like I had to start living up to in private the things which I was saying in public. And he was beginning to feel discordance between the two. You know, he was making changes personally, but he'd created a brand publicly.
And then you'll kind of realize your own loops and patterns. It takes time. It's not overnight. It's not instantaneous.
So you mean letting go is not a one-time event?
Yeah, and there's letting go is not necessarily even the right answer. Like, yes, if you're trying to be an enlightened being and you want to live like a god and everything's gonna be perfect and be a Buddha, sure, you can let go. But I think in practice it's actually quite hard to do. I think I would say that it's you're going to find a lot of fulfillment out of life by just doing what you want to do and genuinely exploring what it is that you want, rather than doing what other people expect you to do or society expects you to do or what you might just think it should be done by default. I think most older successful people will tell you that their life was best when they lived it unapologetically on their own terms.
And all I want to do is call the race director up of Badwater saying I qualify for the race. And she's thinking we gotta go to the hospital. So she's calling my mom, and my mom has a doctor friend of hers who's over, and they're freaking out. And I said, everybody, just shut up.
Wow.
Shut up. I'm in the worst pain in my entire life, and no one would ever understand this. No one. When you've gone that deep inside yourself, and all those feelings of pain that I had, I was in the worst pain of my life. Ever. And some people think, man, you're just crazy. No, when you've done that and you've figured out so much on your own, and all that pain and discomfort I had in that tub laying there, passing out, everything was confirmation of what I just figured out. I just figured out the code.
Tim Ferriss has an idea called the good sticks.
All right.
When I first started out on this journey of personal growth, felt guilty because I didn't have a perfectly curated Evernote external brain with nested folders and all of my book summaries, and I was supposed to keep all of this thing, and how am I going to remember it, and blah, blah, blah. 5 and a bit years later, people come up to me and ask, one of the most common questions I get asked is, how do you remember all of the things that you remember? 2 things. First off, I don't remember anything that I don't care about. And the second thing, massive amounts of exposure.
No one can motivate me. I have a resume full of motivation that whenever I'm down, I'm like, oh, hang on, motherfucker. Oh, you know the truth. You know the truth. You know the darkness of the dungeons and the demons that fly. You know, and then from there, it's like, oh, okay, you were there. You know this. There was no one there to pick up the rucksack, to pick up the boat, to pick up the log, to go in there. It was you. It was you. There was no pat in the back at 300, at 275, at 250, at 220. No, that was you.
the people who are sad and alone. And one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had from a mental perspective was actually defining emotions for what they are operationally. So sadness comes from a lack of options, or rather a lack of perceived options. And that's why it feels like hopelessness, because you don't know what to do. When I realized that sadness meant that I didn't know what to do, it meant that another way that I could define sadness was ignorance. And that is solvable.
But I think if you can get to the stage where the public version of you is the best version of you, and then private you has to live up to the best version of you, and then you get to do this sort of self-reinforcing cycle.
I realized that I'm going to be somebody, and I'm searching for a feeling of true victory for myself, and only myself. The second I shut out the whole world and realized that one thing, that I am in this world alone.
No one can explain why you are alive. No one can save you but you. You have to put the mind into what you want to put the mind into. If you believe in something, you can achieve it. Now, that doesn't mean everybody needs to be a rapper. That does not mean everybody needs to be a fucking painter or an artist. That doesn't mean that way. Your art can be in your emotion. Your art can be in your mind. Now, you can be a doctor, and that can be a form of art. You can be a therapist, and that can be a form of art. It's how you articulate. You get it? Articulate. It's how you treat these things. It's the manner that you treat. You know what I'm saying? Even relationships and friendships can be a matter of art. It's a matter of mind.
I would rather you leave me alone. I would rather never have this platform and continue to push forward and be a better man. But I want to inspire people because I came from nothing.
The interesting thing about that is that the only person who can judge you on your success is you, because you're the only one who knows how much left in the tank you really had. And the better you get, and you can resonate with this, you start winning exteriorly. And that's when people are like, it felt so empty. It's because they didn't actually work as hard as they could have. They just worked hard enough to beat everyone else. But that discrepancy between how hard you could have worked to work your hardest versus what was required in order to win, to me, that's the opportunity that shifting towards the work being the goal unlocks for you.
I'm fighting in this race by myself. Yeah, I'm all about people. I'm all about team. I'm all about that. But I'm really all about right now and in my life, just like you said, no one knows the real truth about me, how hard I really go. I don't care if anybody knows. I don't want anybody to know.
I fought for it because no one gave it to me, because it was just me alone in the gym, me alone in the mirror, me alone in my head. No one did it for me. I worked for it, and I'm never going to let someone else take that from me. I don't care if you're D-Trend, what a loser that he wants to pull others down because he's unsure of his own self. Because I worked hard for what I have, that he wants to try to pull me down, or anyone else that's natural, and belittle them. My content was always made to encourage and to advise and to help. It was never for myself. It was never just to put myself out there and be famous. I never cared for that. All I care about is fitness. All I care about is being a better man.
So I think what we're teasing at is authenticity. And so a lot of people feel like imposters because what they think, what they say, and what they do are completely different. But from an operational perspective, because that's how I like to define a lot of words, which is what do I have to do to be that, right? What do I have to do to be authentic? And you can describe someone as authentic by saying, how would you behave if there was no possibility of punishment? And so if you could not be punished at all, that behavior is who you are authentically. And so, in my opinion, our degrees of freedom are predicated on how much, to what extent we act as though we could not be punished. And so if what we want to do and what we do have no possibility of punishment, that is what we are when we are our true selves.
So those things that come out of me, that extract from me in the darkness, people are looking for that pat on the back. Where is it? Oh, I don't need it, because what I've done is in the unseen work, I built Frankenstein. So whenever gets nasty, David Goggins goes, you had nobody anyway, mother. So see how I'm talking myself right now? That's me. That fires me the up. That makes me nuts. You had nobody anyway, mother. Look around you. There was no team. It was you. There was no weight loss program or mom and dad waking you up saying you can do it, you can be better, trying to build belief. You built belief when you had nothing. Rock bottom.
It's what you do when there's no one around. Your old one about authenticity. People are attracted to authenticity, but it's hard to define for me. Here's my best attempt. True alignment of what you think, what you say, and what you do. The hardest part is realizing that our thoughts are fucked and that we have to fix them instead of faking the next two.
No one cares about you and your life more than you. And you can be all sad about it, or you can accept it as a reality and be like, okay, it's on me. And then start being smart. Take responsibility. Put myself in situations. Create some skin in the game. This is the harsh truth when it comes to transformation. If you don't have any skin in the game, nothing will happen. If you don't take responsibility, nothing will happen.
That is what motivates David Goggins, is the unseen work. Everybody needs that pat on the back. They need that training partner. They need that accountability coach. I need it. And neither do they. It's what we've trained ourselves to believe that we need.
I think the hardest jump is actually doing and saying what you think. When someone's like, hey, what do you think about this? And you're like, I wasn't paying attention at all. It's like, oh, wow, okay. And so then if you start by not lying to yourself, and then you start saying those things, then you start not lying to other people. And I think if you can decrease the friction between what you really think and what you say, it starts to create some virtuous cycle outside of you that starts to orient your behavior so that you actually start doing what you really think.
I figured out a code that many people aren't looking for. And I want it to be known. I want that feeling. This was confirmation. This was like a scientist's notes. The notes were here. The notes were all this feeling. It was a confirmation. And no one at that time could understand what I just done. I cracked the code to human potential.
Development, self-growth, and a lot of the business advice as well. Even the bad times are romanticized. And they're not fucking romantic. Like, it feels like hell. It feels like to do the thing, to fail, to not feel like anybody cares about you, to not even know that there's going to be glory in retrospect.
Yeah.
It feels despondent and destitute and sad and alone, and I get it. And I think that the more visceral that we can make these stories, the better it is, because I know that that's what would have resonated with me, because I would have gone, that's an undeniable stack of proof that you were where you said you were.
So it's that quiet place.
Wow.
It's that place by yourself. It's those hours and years and decades by yourself in the grip of life. When life has you by the throat and choking you out, and you're sitting there calm because you're trying to figure it out. You're not panicking. You're not quitting. You're not throwing in the towel. You're saying there's a way around this. And when you figure it out, when life has you gripped in a vice, and you can figure that out, that's when you overcome. That's when you overcome. And that's why that one moment for me in that tub, I didn't want anyone to take away from me.
Like, whenever I felt like my back was against the wall and I didn't know what to do, and it felt like the Instagram reels of like the motivation weren't going to get me through what I was going through, because no one cared that I was sleeping alone. I let them know I'm sleeping on the floor, and a month later when you're still sleeping on the floor, everyone's like, don't care. Like, great, you're pursuing your dream, right? Early days. Despite that, the must be easy mantra is the easiest indicator that you have a victim mindset, because what it means is I can't achieve this thing because on some level, if you say must be easy, there's some level of desire that's there. You're like, I'd like to achieve some aspect of this. And then rather than feel the pain of saying that I'm inadequate or I'm not taking action, we cast our inadequacy on some outside object or some outside circumstance. And by doing that, we remove all agency and all power that we have over our lives. And for me, I would rather be somebody who has absolute power and have nothing to show for it than somebody who has all the things to show for it, but know that I'm life's.
I'm an introvert. I live an introverted life. And I love that about me. That right there is my fuel. Is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game.
You know what I'm sick and tired of, Harry? I'm sick and tired of having to eke my way through life. Sick and tired of being a nobody. But most of all, I'm sick and tired of having nobody.
Well, everybody, it's Groundhog's Day again for David Goggins. If you pan it down here, you see it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's not a car or a person in sight. If you pan over here, it's the same thing. Not a car or a person in sight. People want to know where I find my strength at, where I get my strength. I get it from a lot of places, but right now, this morning, I'm getting it from, there's not a mother that's up. There's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday. Hate it's a Monday. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the factor every daggone day.
I think a lot of people are looking for something that is very hard to find. And then they attribute their lack of success or lack of action because they don't have passion or motivation, right? And I was the same way. And so the short story around this was that I watched all the TED Talks in college. Like that was like what I was like, I'm not watching YouTube, I'm watching TED Talks. And I was like, and then I realized, and then I heard the term mental math, and I was like, oh, that's definitely what I'm doing. I was like, my life hasn't changed at all. And then I got my job, so out of college, and I would read all the self-help books. I read like every night, that's all I did. I just read all these self-help books, and I found one of them that said, there are people who are wantrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And I remember hearing that word wantrepreneur, and I was like, it made me feel sad. I was like, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I was like, I'm not some bitch. But I was like, but what if they're right? I am a wantrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. I want to be one, and I'm not. And from that point, it took me 6 months to quit my job to actually decide to do the entrepreneurial thing.
I'm thinking right now, after I got past my stuttering thing, now I'm on a roll, I'm good now. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I got to wake up tomorrow and do the same shit again. I got to leave this interview and go stretch out for 2.5 hours. I hate that.
You have to define what the input is that's going to get you the output you want. Now, once you know what that input output is, the next one is, why aren't you doing it?
You can't be isolated, alone, without responsibility, and pursuing your hedonistic nonsense, and not be insane and miserable. Those are all the same thing.
And there are many things that contributed to me being able to leave. And I think a lot of it's not like people are looking for one thing. It might be a big bag of whys, a lot of them, right, that add up together to be above your action threshold. And I think in the early days, people are looking for the big carrot. They want the big vision. They want the big passion, but they don't have it. But I'll give you the first rule of entrepreneurship that I have learned, which is use what you have. A lot more people have pain. A lot more people have anger. A lot more people have shame. And if you can use that as your gas in the beginning, you'll eventually get to a point where you can get out of that loop and then find something that you are really passionate about. But if you can't tie your shoes, you can't lift the weight, you can't send the DM, then you have to start with whatever you have. And so for me, it was hatred of my current existence. I hated being an entrepreneur. I hated being a wannabe. I hated being one of those people who like talked about all the things they were going to do and didn't do anything.
You need to consider yourself alone. I'm alone here. And I'm actually, for the first time, directly interacting with the simulation.
A friendly reminder that in 3 generations, everyone who knew us will be dead, including the people whose opinions stopped you from doing what you wanted all along. Imagine that someone you know achieves every dream and hits every goal they have. Years later, they get old and die. 2 years after that, how much do you care? About as much as everyone else will if you accomplish your goals and dreams. Do it for you.
I was left alone at a young age to figure this shit out. I figured it out for myself, and it's been very successful. No one's gonna come in here and fuck. That's why I make sure I will take care of whatever you need. Whatever you need from me, you got it. Money, house, my love, my support, I'm gonna give you everything you need. That said, I do it at the highest level possible. And I'm saying it with Jennifer in the next room. So please come here and say something. If it's wrong, Jennifer, I don't give a fuck. Say what you gotta say. So then, when it's time for me to go to work, I expect you to do the same for me, because it takes every bit of me to do what I have to do.
So I think about death all the time because it's probably the central theme. It's probably the thing that I think the most about, and I think that influences how I see time, and also how I think how it influences agency, like what actions I'm willing to take despite the judgment of others. And so a lot of times, and it might be because I have more insecurity than everyone, that I think like, man, I want to do this thing. And then I hear all these other voices of reasons why I shouldn't do it, or why somebody else will say like, that's bad, or you're bad, or like, that's wrong, whatever. And so I think I've had to come up with a lot of these devices to get around my own insecurities, to take action despite those insecurities. And the biggest one that I think about is that it doesn't matter whether I achieve all of my goals or I don't achieve all of the goals. In 3 generations, I'll be forgotten. And the only people who were naysaying against me will also be dead. And so then it's like, just do it for me.
The 297 was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. Because that voice I was telling you about, it always was there. I was just trying to avoid that conscience. I wanted to be left alone from that conscience, and it wouldn't leave me alone. So I got out of the Air Force, and I started working for a job called Ecolab, where you spray for cockroaches at 24. And spraying at different...
It was me. I suffered for it. Me, alone, by myself. I did it.
And then when I wake up every day, there's only one voice I have to listen to.
But that means that you need to be able to work out what to do from first principles. You now no longer have societal norms or assistants or role models or archetypes or expectations. And that's also difficult. in a different way.
All kind of, and this was like time to reflect. And I was all kind of, I got on stage, man, just fucking cried for like 59 seconds. And it was such an emotional moment for me that I did what I did, and I overcame it. And it was alone, man. You know, a lot of people have like teammates and like, you know, family push. My mom was struggling, bro. She was struggling. So it was like me and my mom. And so it was a lot of just me. So when you're waking up every morning by yourself and you're getting after it by yourself, and it's the hidden work. People see 1 minute video of me running, and like these fighters, you know, they see during the fight or after the fight. They don't see these motherfuckers, man, what they deal with every fucking day.
I think that the more you flex whatever that muscle is of like independent thinking, the more it becomes the default way that you think. And then everyone else's action is just start looking more and more insane to you. Just the most basic ones of like living the life that you don't want, not wearing what you want to wear, not dating who you want to date, not living where you want to live. Like you're living at home and you want to move and your parents say no and you don't make the move, or you're dating a girl because she's socially accepted, you know, by your friend group, she's safe, but like there's always some distance in between you, but you're like, I don't want to risk it, right? Or like you're in the job and every day you go there and you're like, I mean, it's okay. And the idea of just living an okay life just sounds so terrifying to me that the freedom to fail over and over again is still more fulfilling to me. At least it feels like it's real.
The idea of reaching this golden year it's a very flawed idea, because it's an idea that you're gonna work hard, but then you're gonna reach the finish line. But there's no finish line. No. It doesn't exist.
That's the scary thing about life, my friend.
That is a scary thing, right?
And that's what fatigues me. People go, man, why don't you ever smile? There's no fucking end, my friend.
And so I think that's a lot of the choices that other people make that seem insane to me now, but didn't seem insane to me a decade ago. You know what I mean? I think it's just like as you practice taking more agency, taking more responsibility for the decisions, then you just get better and better at it. And then it just seems more and more ridiculous. You're like, I just can't quit my job. And you're like, why? Like, no, physically, why? Like, why can't you quit your job? Like, you know what I mean? They start hyperventilating. And it's like, could you move in with your parents? Could you move in with a friend? Could you split rent? I mean, I could, but I mean, other people who are going to die in 100 years would think what? And one of my favorite ones is, and I say this all the time to Layla, like whenever we're getting to some sort of like mini complaint, it's like, you know, if you zoom out far enough, you can't see the earth. So we're talking about like, oh man, they're going to mess up this order on this vendor's, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know, if you zoom out far enough, you can't see the earth. It's just like, it just puts everything immediately into perspective of how ridiculous some of the things that we're concerned about are.
For too long in my life, and it got me in trouble. For too long in my life, I wanted to be accepted. Growing up, I lied, I did what I could. If you like UFC and I didn't, I love it. I love it, man. Let's go fucking watch it, man. Be my friend, be my buddy. That fucking weak ass shit. I found out through this path of life, who is David Goggins? Who am I? So going through all, I did it alone. There was no fucking trophy on the fucking wall on the mantle. That trophy's in my fucking brain. No one helped me get there. No one paid my fucking bills. No one did shit for me. No one ran those fucking miles, lost that fucking weight. Went through it. I suffered on my own and developed this man who said, "It's who I am, man." A very competitive, ultra competitive dude that take it what you want, man.
Sean Puri's got this thing where he says, don't follow what most people do because you don't want the results that most people get. The average person is obese, likely to be divorced, and has less than 1K in the bank. It feels safe to do what everyone else is doing, but it's actually a terrible decision.
It's like the best way to guarantee to not have the life that you want is to do what everyone else is doing. Unless you want what everyone else has, which no one does.
Yeah, it's being able to think for yourself and treating it like a muscle, I think, is a smart way to consider it, because in the beginning it's really, really hard. You've been resting on societal norms and the way you've dealt with past trauma and your parents' expectations and what all of your friends do and what's accepted and all of this stuff for so long that when it first comes to you needing to step on that muscle, it's like trying to move your ears. Like, all humans have got muscles that can move their ears, but because no one works it as a child, they just atrophy away. And this is the ear muscle of personal growth.
I had to learn these lessons on my own through the discipline of hard work and cutting the grass and raking the leaves and doing all these things before school and after school. And he just built a mindset in me that I was like, okay, one day I can fall back on this. But I realized that Sergeant Jack taught me something that I'm gonna have to go back to for the rest of my life.
Success is the only revenge. As you expand, they shrink into irrelevance. As you get louder, no one can hear them. You don't beat them, you cast a shadow so big, no one can see them to begin with. When people copy, they copy the wrong stuff because they don't know why it worked to begin with. And when it breaks, they don't know how to fix it because they didn't build it. So don't sweat it. Copycats will always be behind.
It was so in-depth to go back through your life with a fine-tooth comb that I almost got embarrassed to even put it out there to people.
Yeah.
That's what you don't understand, man. Like, even me right now to talk to you, I'm in the car for an hour getting pumped up because I'm a shy, introverted, leave me alone type of guy. Like, I'm still that motherfucker who is 6 years old, you know, at a play who can't say his line because I know I'm gonna stutter in front of 5 people. So I walk off the stage. That's still me. So every day I'm fighting that dude. So people think, oh my God, man, you're on a podcast, you look so crazy, so evil. No, I'm trying to be locked into Joe. So my mind isn't veer off saying, let's run out the damn door because people are watching me on the podcast. I want to open this damn door and get the hell out of here, man. So that's the real me. So I'm not sadistic, man. I'm focused on what I have to do to stay locked into the game of life.
I was 15 years old, so this was really early in my life.
Still jacked.
Still jacked. Always jacked. Perma-jacked. And I, this sounds so lame. So I had this teacher. So I'm a freshman in high school, and I might have been 14, whatever the age is. And I'm walking through the hallway, and this teacher is like an admin of some kind, walks out of his office, and he's like, son. And I was like, I'm like, you're just in trouble. What am I going to do? And he's like, you work out? And I was like, no. He's like, why not? And I was like, I don't know how. He's like, I'll show you. He's like, you got the genes. And so that teacher, Mr. Gibbons, ended up working out with me every day in high school and showed me how to work out. And he probably saw on some level that I was some angsty teenager that felt angry about whatever.
That there's over 600 some odd thousand people looking at me saying, motherfucker, Goggins is somewhere out there. He's somewhere out there getting after it. And I am. So you ain't never alone. I'm out there somewhere, 600 some thousand people. There's a chance that when you're working out, I don't care if you're in Washington, D.C. and I'm in Nashville, there's a good chance at the same time we're getting after it. And I want people to know that, and it's the real deal. We are getting after it together. Not no like happy family, but we're getting after it.
And I, during our workout sessions, would be like, this guy said this to me, like, or like this, whatever. And I was like, man, I'm going to come back at our 10-year reunion. And I was like, I'm going to show him. I was like, he's going to be working for me, like blah, 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 right? And he's like, no, he's not. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, let me just have my moment. Right? He's like, no, he's not. He's like, and you're not going to do that. Not if I have anything to say about it when you come back for the 10-year reunion. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, because if you come back at a 10-year reunion and say, hey, John, like everything I have, look at me now. He's like, the guy's gonna laugh and be like, you did all of this to try and prove me wrong? Man, I feel sorry for you.
But it's my job now to take these weak people in the category that I was in and say, stop reading the book, stop listening to them. And if my story of success can impact somebody, it is my job, it's my duty to share the story. As much as I'm not really fond of it, I'm the kind of guy that wants to sit in the room and just be me alone by myself. It's who I am. But I have to get uncomfortable and tell people all this. You think it feels good telling people at a 4th grade reading level in high school, I stuttered, I lied to people to be their friends. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. But maybe someone's doing the same.
When he said that, when he actually played out what my like revenge fantasy was in real life, I realized it looked stupid.
Petty.
Yeah, I looked like the beta in the situation, right? And so he was like, the only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you, and then you'll forget they exist. And that's when he said, success is the only revenge. He's like, it's not the best revenge. He's like, it's the only one. There's no other revenge. Because everything else is petty. Everything else does show that you were thinking about these people all day long, which means they win by default.
And maybe they can realize, wow, that motherfucker was a piece of shit. And I was a Navy SEAL, retired guy, and runs these miles and was 297 pounds and pathetic. Wow. And people say, why are you talking so? It's truth. I was a pathetic motherfucker, man. People cannot say that to themselves. We have to choose these great magical words that make people feel good. Tell yourself the truth.
He's like, all you can do is think about your goal and winning. He's like, and when you win, that's when you become so big that they shrink into irrelevance. You cast a shadow that no one even can see them behind you.
This is the nuance, I think, on the previous point when we were talking about the toxicity of that fuel long term. When you think about the activation energy of using the things that you don't like, you have to be careful that you're using them and that they're not using you still. And a lot of the time, I get this, and in my more juvenile moments, I see myself do this, where I'll know that there's a game that somebody else that I don't like cares about, and I'll imagine myself playing that game to beat them so that I can stick it to them purely for the reason of sticking it to them. Let's say that there's someone that really cares about being in shape, and I'm not in as good shape as I have been in the past, and I know that with muscle memory, if you give me 18 months and a good amount of testosterone, like the thing that they care about, I would be able to make them feel really bad about.
I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. Because every day, even though they're the best in the world, that little motherfucker at 7 or 8 years old is still in there saying, "Oh man, we don't have something. We're not good enough. We shouldn't be here." So you're always fighting that motherfucker. Even though you beat it, you never truly beat it. So when they get on stage and they're talking to Joe Rogan, it's not even real.
Right. Okay, so I would hijack my own direction.
Yeah.
Purely to try and prove somebody else wrong in a desperate and somehow believe that that's me taking control of my life. Are you kidding me? I'm allowing them to ventriloquize me through pain that they didn't even mean to give me.
I'm going to make a new goal just to wrong this person, and then somehow make up the story that I'm in control of my life when I'm really just acting in complete reaction to this person. And so in so doing, in beating them at their own game, they've already won by default.
You know what? I'm back. I know I was down for a little bit. I know I got comfortable, but I'm back in that mode now because I can no longer afford to feel sorry for myself because I've let my emotions impact my purpose for way too long. I know I've been placed on this earth to do something great. I know I'm here for a reason, so I can no longer keep playing around with my full potential.
Because they got me to change the game I was playing. Right. Forget about who won. It's like, dude, you were over there and now you're over here.
Pushing the water, and there's a jogger, actually. Look at this. Wow. The Florida man right there for you, Blake.
I see this with a lot of people. I think that it contributes to a lot more of why and how people adopt societal norms, that the resentment that they have, it's not just other people want this thing, therefore I mimetically want to do this thing too. It's I know that other people will respect me and that my resentment will feel justified and manifest if I win at it. And that's really compelling. That's like a motivational spit roasting coming in from both ends. And it's really, really powerful.
So when you do decide to get back in that mode, you must go all in because you owe it to yourself for all those times that you felt like you had no purpose. You owe it to yourself for all those times that you were down at your lowest. And you owe the world the most authentic version of yourself. And you can only do that by living in your purpose. And you can only do that if you get back in that mode right now.
I mean, I think, one of the really early blessings, and I'll be honest, like this is where I think I was fortunate, right? Like I realized when I was about 28, right, that I had been trying really hard to beat. I mean, you'll notice a common theme with a lot of my stories, but I have one central person that I was trying to prove for a very long time, which was my father. And we're on good terms, by the way, because I always get that question. But this was after I left, and he disapproved of my whole thing, and for 5 years we didn't talk very much. And so he calls me up, he says, "Hey, you're gonna want to sit down for this." And I'm like, "Okay, what? Are you pregnant?" And so he says, "I'm sorry." And I was like, "For what?" And he was like, "For everything." Right now, mind you, like this is a Middle Eastern father, born in Iran, to a Middle Eastern father there who's even more legit. Like where my father was born, women weren't allowed to drive cars. Cars came with drivers with them when you bought them. The driver came with the car. Like he was born in a very different world. Like fathers don't apologize to sons. It just wasn't that way.
Well, first of all, it occurs to me that loneliness is always perception. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Alone is just a fact and that we can embrace and make decisions about. Loneliness has got an emotional charge to it. And that's very much a matter of perception.
And I have a little bit more awareness than I did then, and I can see that now. But for me, I was like, now you apologize? You know what I mean? And so rather than take it for the olive branch that it was, I said, I didn't care about your opinion 5 years ago when I left. And I was like, I don't care now.
You can be alone and not be lonely. And you can be surrounded by all kinds of people and be completely lonely. So that question is, how open am I? How vulnerable am I really willing to be? what defenses have I erected around myself to protect myself that keeps me from really contacting other people? So I think we unwittingly generate loneliness. There's also something else that happens, and you referred to this earlier. You talked about elders. So in our society, we don't talk about elders. We talk about the elderly. It's not the same. In our society that defines people so much in terms of their economic value, we tend to discard people that are not perceived as having economic value either as producers or consumers.
And he was like, well, we'll see how long your success lasts. And so what could have been a really nice exchange ended up becoming pretty ugly. But the main point there was that I wanted to, in the beginning, like make as much as my father, and then it was make more than my father, and then it was make more than my father had ever made in his entire life. And once I had achieved that, I realized that as much as like, it sounds terrible to say this, but like I was trying to beat him at his game. And this is pretty alive in a lot of Asian cultures. Same thing, making money is a big, like when my dad would introduce somebody, he'd be like, this is so-and-so, he makes this much a year. Like, so it was just really clear, like this is how much status someone has. And so like, it was really deep for me. But it was only when I realized that I had won at his game that I realized I'd never even asked the question of like, what game am I trying to win?
So this society generates a lot of loneliness just because of its materialistic values. And in other functioning cultures, elders are not only they're respected, but they have a purpose.
And I don't know how many people are actually trying to win at a game that they didn't even set the rules up for.
So many.
When they're in it. And that's why I say, like, I think I was fortunate that I hit a really tough goal, because my dad is a successful man, relatively early on. But that exchange, and then and then reflecting back and feeling terrible about myself for like saying what I said, and then I was like, I did everything that I've done to this point to beat him, beat my father, the man who actually raised me, who tried to make me the best man I can. And when I really start thinking about it, I'm like, I like who I am. He raised me. So doesn't that mean that he might have been the perfect father?
First of all, the world is getting more stressed. It's getting more split. Everybody sees that. Getting more hostile in a lot of ways. Getting less welcoming and more dangerous, more alienating. On the one hand, on the other hand, we're more and more alone with it. Isolation and loneliness are rising. So if people experience pain and change and stress or even danger communally, it's bearable.
The people you used to have contempt for, or distaste, or hatred, or whatever, shaped you in a way that you couldn't have been. And I often think about how the things I'm most proud of in myself are the light side of something that I was so embarrassed about, so ashamed about. Being an outcast as a kid meant that I'm capable of being on my own way beyond how anybody else is. So far beyond it. I can work on my own in solitude for an endless amount of time. I can outwork anybody in solitude. Why? Because I spent almost all of my time between the ages of 6 and 16 in my bedroom listening to audio tape.
But when we're alone with it, it becomes less and less bearable. And so one of the major factors driving, I think, the sensitivity that you're describing is just how alone people feel, which is not how we're meant to be. So that the capitalist values of aggressive, individualistic, ruthless greed and competition against everybody else, that doesn't reflect human needs or even human nature.
I think most people think, Jay, everyone else is going to die. I think they just, I'm not going to die. Or they go, I'll get around to being happy. I'll get around to making my masterpiece of my life. I'll get around to my dreams. I'm going to get around to fixing this relationship that's broken. I'm going to get around to feeling those emotions. And then it's another day and another day. And they keep it in the distance until there are no more days. And I don't care if you're 18 years old listening to this, 28 or 48. We don't know if we have one more day, or 100 more days, or 1,000 more days. But we know this, there'll eventually be a time where we don't have any more days. And so why would we spend the ones that are coming looking at the past?
How it's so hard to see the good if you're only seeing the bad. Like, there's so many people that struggle with what their version of success is because they're looking at someone else's. There's so many people that struggle with their world of relationship because they're judging theirs based off of someone else's, right? And when you're constantly in the space of not realizing or noticing your world, your reality, because you're living in what appears to be someone else's, well, your shit is never gonna be right.
And I also think about, like, what kind of life do I want to live?
And I want to be great. Like, I want to be the best version of myself I can be, but I also don't believe that I need to do it alone. And I don't think anybody wants to. I don't think that's fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's just like, people are like, I'm burnt out. I'm like, all right, do you have friends? Are you doing things alone? Do you have people to support you? It's funny. It's like such a correlation there. It's like, they're often like, no, I have like one person.
Yeah. And people always say that statement of, it's lonely at the top, but it doesn't have to be.
Speak Italian, I didn't have any friends. You know, I had the game of basketball, and through sport and playing soccer, I was able to make friends and build connections. But there was a lot of time spent alone. And when I came back to the States, I wasn't the most athletic kid. You know, I was really scrawny, like really, really skinny, and had like major knee issues because I was growing. So I was the dorky kid with high socks and big old knee pads.
It's fashionable now.
It's fashionable now. It wasn't then. It wasn't then. And so I had to look long term, because in the here and now, I couldn't compete with these kids.
It's never gonna be right? Like if I'm looking at everybody's relationship with their father and I'm going, I want that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not embracing the world of good that came from my dad. I could have went down the road that my dad did. I could have easily been wrapped into the same world of, you know, drugs, gangs, violence, stick-up boys, right? Like the embracing the hood at the highest level. Not that I don't, because I do. That's where I'm from. But I could have embraced it at a much higher level and followed in the footsteps of my father, because that's what he did. But I was able to realize the mistakes he made. I was able to go, well, I don't want to go down that street because I see the consequences of it. That's a choice that I made, right? Some don't make that choice.
Yeah, there was kids that were like 12 years old with beards. Like, I can't, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, they're doing windmills and dunking backwards, and I'm happy to like tap the backboard, you know? So I had to look at it from a long term, because I wasn't going to give up on the game.
Right.
So I had to say, okay, this year, I'm going to get better at that. Next year, this. And then so forth and so on. And then patiently, I was able to catch them.
I've noticed that as my career has grown, I talk more to my oldest friends.
Yeah.
And I have less time today. So it doesn't make sense. So I moved to the States 10 years ago when I started my online work. And I talked to my best friend who was my best man at my wedding. I talk to him like 3 times a week right now. And I don't know where I find the time.
Yeah.
But somehow I do. And I'm thinking that's the reason I do it. I didn't even think about it that way until you said it. I just thought, our relationship's just got better. And even though he lives in a totally different time zone, we find a way to connect with each other. But it's exactly what you're saying, because my anxiety's increased.
Yeah.
And because the amount I have to hold is increased, the amount I have to give is increased, I lean more on the people in my life that have been there the longest, who know me the deepest, who know me the best. And even if I'm doing it subconsciously, that is the reason why it's happening.
You do what you want based off of who you've seen or what you want to be true to. Live your life. Ultimately, we get one. Live it for you. Live it to the best space and place that you feel you can win at. That's my motto. I'm not here to tell you right from wrong. I'm saying I identify things differently, and I make decisions based off of examples that I can look at as not bad, but ones that if I didn't have, I could have made that mistake.
Yeah.
So without a lesson that was intentional, my dad's giving me lessons.
Yeah.
Right? It's not intentional. My dad never said I went to jail, so you didn't have to.
Yeah.
He never said that.
I think it really is about a quest of knowing thyself. And, you know, for every man, they're going to have a journey and an inflection point where they have to decide, am I going to learn about who I am through trial and error and external experiences, or am I going to put on this, you know, the psychological scuba diving mask and go in and actually see who the I am?
You can get yourself into a situation where you feel like any challenges that you're facing are a personal curse that's just you. Like, only I feel this thing. Only I have this thought. Only I criticize myself in this way, have this shortcoming. And when you hear someone that has the same fear or uncertainty that you do, you go, it's not just me. Like, it's not just me. I'm not cursed by the gods. This isn't some unique designer disease that I have, this weird pathology of one. It's not that. It's maybe I'm not quite as strange and broken
as I thought it was.
And I think it's easier for men to say, I'll just go out in the world, right? I'll just go build some. Because the truth is that the scariest place to be is inside yourself. That's the truth. Most men know that, you know, barring some extreme situations and war zones and stuff like that. But for the majority of men, for a lot of the men that I've worked with Navy SEALs, I've worked with executives, I've worked with artists and athletes, and every single man that I've ever worked with, the most terrifying thing for them is the truth of who they are.
Hearing somebody say something and it resonating in the back of your mind and telling you the lesson, it's not just me, is one of the best. I don't know whether we have an emotion for that. It's like recognition, sort of resonance, it's a sense of being seen.
Or is it a sense of feeling human?
Maybe being, at least for me, it's less broken. I think I spent so much time in my head. I'm an only child. Grew up in the northeast of the UK. I don't sound like I come from there. I went to state primary, state secondary, state sixth form college. Like, didn't do the things that the people in my school were doing, and that meant I was always on the outside. Plus, being an only child, you spend a lot of time in your head.
Because there's parts of them that they do not understand, and that's scary. There's parts of themselves that are out of control, and that's terrifying. And so I think for what I would say to those men is, it sounds like you're not really willing to get in the arena with yourself, period. And you can find a medium that works for you, right? Goggins found a medium that seems to work for him, that's not my medium, right? I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. every single day and run until my knees are grinding bones against each other. This is just not it for me. I want to push myself physically for sure, and I want to build things and push myself from an entrepreneurial standpoint for sure. But there is something to be said for the courage and the bravery that it takes to go in to who you actually are as a human being.
We externalize the bad and internalize the good. We're quick to blame and slow to credit. You say you're anxiously attached because no one held you when you needed it, but isn't your ability to be alone in your emotions and to endure discomfort quietly also forged in the same crucible? You blame your parents for pushing you too hard in school, convinced it made you perfectionistic and neurotic. But when was the last time you acknowledged that same pressure gave you ambition, discipline, and drive? You point to a childhood where mistakes weren't tolerated as the reason you fear failure. But what about your meticulousness, your standards, your refusal to phone it in? You complain that no one ever asked you what you wanted growing up. But could that also be why you're so tuned in to what everyone else needs? You say your low self-worth comes from your never being praised, but isn't that the same fuel that makes you outwork everyone around you?
You know, Jung had this great saying that the real work of men is to discover their own shadow. And if they can do that, they've done something meaningful for the world. And what he meant by that was, if you don't understand your own maladaptive behaviors, your own sabotage mechanisms, if you don't understand how you are harming other people.
You trace your conflict avoidance back to all the shouting at home, but isn't that also where your talent for de-escalation and an emotional radar came from? You chalk up your hyper-independence to not being able to trust anyone, but isn't that also what made you capable, adaptable, and calm under pressure? You say you're emotionally guarded because no one took your feelings seriously, but isn't that also why you're steady when the people around you fall apart? You've labeled yourself a people pleaser because you had to keep the peace at home, but maybe that's also where your social fluency and emotional intelligence were born. You blame your poor boundaries on parents who didn't respect yours, but isn't that also why you're so careful to not cross anyone else's? You say your fear of being a burden comes from being treated like one, but isn't that the same fear that now makes you reliable, disciplined, and impossible to disappoint? You attribute your sensitivity to criticism to all of the judgment you grew up with, but isn't that also what makes you thoughtful, receptive, and serious about getting better? You say your nervous system never relaxes because your home was unpredictable, but isn't that also why you're perceptive, quick thinking, and never caught off guard?
That's not really where men find a sense of meaning and purpose. Like, in many ways, the archetypes of great kings and great men, they are the men that are servants to others. And how they go about doing that is by deeply understanding who they are. And so I think for a lot of men, when I hear that, I'm like, you're scared to know who you really are. You're actually just afraid. And that's okay, but don't lie to me that you're just not afraid of who you actually are. Because so many times I've sat with men and I'll say, close your eyes. and the challenge that man will have. He'll be a killer in the boardroom. He will be a killer on the football field. And I'll say, sit down, close your eyes, take a breath, tell me what's happening inside of you. An immediate confrontation.
I think with men especially, you know, the whole cliche, like, we've been taught to hide it and to carry it alone, and that's what makes you be a man, is carrying all your, keeping it under wraps, you know? And I also, like, there is truth and validity to the fact that material struggle is vital, you know? Having food, water, and shelter is necessary, but there are so many internal struggles that are harder to see, and it doesn't mean that they're not real, you know? And I think everyone is just so quick to get into this, like, struggle competition with people. Like, yeah, but I had to go through this. But there's always going to be someone who can say, that's cute, I had to go through this. It doesn't mean that your isn't real. It doesn't mean it didn't have an impact, didn't affect you. Yeah, it's so divisive to me.
The traits you're most ashamed of are often just the dark side of something light. Your sharp edges didn't appear out of nowhere. They're often the byproduct of something useful, a strength turned up too high or a gift handled without guidance. Think about a sword, powerful, precise, designed to cut through resistance. But if it's double-edged, and most strengths are, then sometimes it nicks you on the backswing. That doesn't mean that you throw the sword away. It means that you learn how to hold it properly. Because most traits worth having come with risk. The truth is messier than a single cause. Every trait is entangled. Wounds and gifts often share a root. The self-reliance you're proud of may come from the same childhood where you couldn't rely on anyone. The confidence you carry may have started as a defense over ever feeling small or dismissed again. Even your drive to succeed may be rooted in the fear of not being good enough.
I resent your audacity. You can't last as me, you spineless. You can't hold your life together, let alone the lives of others. So you talk it to, like, and it goes into this whole thing about just like, I don't resent you. I resent your audacity that you think you know what this is. You don't, and that's okay. And what I tell people is sometimes your level of understanding should just be that you don't understand. And that's got to be enough.
You're claiming that you do.
And you haven't done the life experience to understand, and you're commenting. So you just haven't earned the experience to comment on this. And that goes for so many people. That's what spawned my post about people comparing struggles. It's like, I would never critique or comment somebody's struggle that I just don't know about.
Stop letting the internet dictate your mood. Stop it. Stop letting people decide how you're going to feel today. Oh, I had a tough day. Life, it's an old saying. I didn't come up with it. It's an old saying. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Which is the ultimate in compensation for human beings. To have more control over your own destiny is the ultimate compensation. You know, you and I were talking before we hit record, like, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't control what you're doing every day, or at least you don't control most of what you're doing, then it's not worth it. The reason people try and make money is so they can have more autonomy in their life. And so in the military, it becomes very clear, and it became very clear to me very quickly, that if I performed well, I actually got a lot more freedom with what I did, even in boot camp. You know, if you pass an inspection in boot camp, you don't have to redo your locker, or you don't have to make your bed again because you did it right the first time.
Hey dog, can I be straight up with you? No one's watching you and nobody cares. Just grind. That's your damn problem. You keep worrying about if people watching you, but at the end of the day, nobody cares. Stop feeding for other people's validation and start validating yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
We are who we are when nobody's watching. If you want to know who you really are, be on your own. Go somewhere on your own, on holiday or whatever, and that's who you are. If you're driving along and you throw the soda can out of the window of the car, that's who you really are. No one does that with kids in the back. Monster. But if you do that, if that's who you, it's interesting to kind of note that. You know, it's the difference between character and reputation. You know, you really know who you are. Reputation is what everyone else thinks about you. You know who you are and yourself.
you always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you. People struggle to do things alone. And the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people.